Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this pre-recorded session on CSE, Comprehensive Society Education, a global learning and sharing symposium on health, well-being, values, and equity. Today we are meeting very wonderful experts who are going to be speaking to us on their research projects which they've carried out in different countries, in Indonesia, in India, in Mexico, and we'll be learning what they have done so far, their methodology, as well as the lesson learned within their research. So we have wonderful panelists who are joining today from various parts of the world. So permit me introduce this panel we have today. So I will begin with Sunil. So I will
Yes,
begin with I will begin with Sunil. Just permit me introduce you if you don't mind. So here on the panel we have Sunil. Sunil is a professional with more than 24 years of experience working with the UN and international organizations in India. He has been associated with UNFPA for the past 20 years and has headed various states in India during these years, and is presently heading the state office in Madhya Pradesh in India. He has worked extensively in areas of sexual and reproductive health, adolescent health and development, and gender programs through providing technical support anchoring large sector programs through UNFPA. In Madhya Pradesh, Mr. Jacob is heading the UNFPA state office and is involved in rolling out the life skills education program in all the schools and working on mental health of adolescents, sexual and reproductive health programs. Welcome very much to this panel, Mr. Sunil.
thank you. Thank you,
Assist
Reno.
Thank you very much. Assisting Mr. Sunil, we have Ms. Anjali, who is a development professional working in the development sector for the last 34 years and in the field of life skill education for adolescents for the past 25 years. She did her master's in social work from Delhi School of Social Work, Delhi University. Her passion for life skill education and adolescent development defines her. Starting with 250 girls in 10 villages in 1993, she has worked closely with UNFPA in institutionalizing life education in state board schools of MP, covering 9,228 government schools and more than 18 lakh schools in the state of Madhya Pradesh in collaboration with UNFPA. She has expertise in curriculum development and training on life skills education. She is director of a state level NGO, Bhatia Gramin Mahila Sash, BGMS, and has been the director of State Resource Center in Dore. She has been working in partnership with UNICEF, UNESCO, UNFPA for the last 32 years. And in 2017, she received the Presidential Award for Outstanding Contribution. Warm welcome to this panel, Ms.
Thank
Ajali
you.
Agawal.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be part of this panel.
Thank you very much. So we'll move to our next panelist, that is Ms. Sonil, Ms. Yaya, Ms. Yaya Mukaroma. She's an adolescent health consultant that focuses on strengthening school health program in Indonesia, including CSE. She's a graduate graduate student from the School of Public Health in the University of Indonesia. Welcome, Mrs. Yayu, to this panel.
Thank you, Dr. Eno.
All right. And last but not the least, we have Mr. Frederick, who is joining us all the way from Mexico. He's a psychologist, a sexologist, individual and couple psychotherapist with post-structuralist approach. He is currently the academic director of the Postgraduate Center in Sexuality, where he is a collaborator and teacher. He is also part of the board of directors of the Mexican College of Postgraduates in Humanist Sexology, called MESEX, and the Mexican Federation of Sexual Education and Sexology, FEMEX. Warm welcome to you, Mr. Frederick Santana.
Thank you for the invitation.
So, thank you very much. And participants, we have a great panel this afternoon, evening, morning, depending on where you're watching us from. And I am your moderator, Dr. Eno from IPPF Arrow. So without much ado, we're going to enter into our focus of the day, which is CSE, a global learning and sharing symposium on health, well-being, values, and equity. So I will turn to my fellow panelists to find out from them what is CSE and how is CSE being implemented in their context. Maybe to get the ball rolling, I want to begin with a woman, and I'll start with Miss Anjali. You know, you are a great expert in CSE and SRHR work in India. Can you please tell us, to you, what is CSE and how is CSE being implemented in India?
Thank you. And like comprehensive sexuality education is very much part of our program that we are implementing in central India in the state of Madhya Pradesh. It is under life skills education that we are doing. Also, it is we are integrating comprehensive sexuality education into that. So, and it is to address all the sexual and reproductive health needs of adolescents as we work with adolescents. I think a lot of such issues have come up, and we are very happy that we are able to integrate into the life skills education program, which is like more holistic, and we are able to, sort of cater to all the holistic needs of the adolescents under this program. So I think CSE is very, very important, and we are able to address the needs of the adolescents in our state. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Anjali, and I completely agree with you on delivering CSE, especially in school, and what India as a country is doing. Maybe I turn to Frederick to find out what is happening in Mexico in terms of CSE and CSE implementation in Mexico. Over to you, Frederick.
Hi, Anno. Hi, everyone. Yes, for us, for the Center of Postgraduate Studies in Sexuality, CSEX, CSE are those strategies, the knowledge, the skills, these attitudes for a full individual or collective development, okay? And for CSEX, it's very important considering the social, political, and historical context that we're living in. Okay, in recent years here in Mexico, CSEX is in the southeast of Mexico, but the whole republic, with the support of educational and social activists and their decades of long work, we have begun to influence in political, education, sexual diversity, digital violence. Okay, so for us, we are seeing now that, but it's been a long time work of those educational and social activists. So for us, that's the CSE important now.
Yes, and thank you, Frederick, and I completely agree with you to have this comprehensive view of CSE, looking at CSE in different angles because it's actually a comprehensive issue. And thank you for bringing it that overview on CSE in Mexico. And now I want to turn over to Yayu. Yayu is from Indonesia. Maybe it will be important to hear how CSE is being implemented. If at all it is, how is it implemented in Indonesia? Over to you, Yayu.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Endong. Well, in Indonesia, same with all my colleagues here, CSE is one of the priority issue for school-age children and adolescents in Indonesia. So this is one of the priority of health issues and integrated with school health program in Indonesia. And it's delivered through some ways, various ways, like intracurricular and then extracurricular, and also co-curricular, integrated with the existing lessons in school. So we have in Indonesia, we have some policy and program, also guidance as an umbrella for the CSE for adolescent and school-age children. So it's very important, and agree with you all that CSE must be delivered on the comprehensive ways, not only physical but also emotional and for social aspect. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yayu. That is well understood, and I completely agree with you as well. I want to turn over to Mr. Sonil. You have extensive experience working with international organizations like UNICEF, UNFPA, UN, And again, you are within the SRE HR space in India. Do you think CSE is effective? Ms. Anjali has spoken about CSE in India and how CSE is being implemented in India. Based on your pool of expertise, do you think it is effective?
Thank you, thank you for this very important question. UNFPA in India has been working with different states, working with outer school adolescents and in-school adolescents to build up their life skills education. And we see CSC embedded in this life skills education because it's more culturally appropriate, and also we can address issues of SRH, we can address issues of gender, especially in the school system. We want to promote gender equality, and through this curriculum we are able to address that. Coming to your question in terms of how far it is effective, in Madhya Pradesh, we are implementing in 10,000 schools, and we have found that there's a lot of feedback from the boys and the girls and the teachers that it's making a real difference in their lives, especially in terms of offtake of services, because we are not looking at just education alone, but we are also linking them to SRH services and also to psychosocial services. So we have seen many evidence in terms of offtake of services. So there is evidence that CSE is working.
Thank you very much for bringing that evidence and for proving that indeed CSE is effective in India. And thank you for the work you're doing with UNFPA to make sure that young people, both in school and out of school, can access CSE. Dear colleagues, dear participants, today we have a wonderful panel that will talk to us about their research, what they have been able to do in their various countries, and they will tell us more on the importance of this research as well as the results they found and what are the recommendations they are putting forth. So I will begin with Frederick. Frederick has done a very wonderful study on the implementation of a diploma in comprehensive sexuality education for high school teachers. So Frederick, I want to give you the floor to begin with your presentation. Over to you.
Yes. We have a few minutes to talk about this. I told Anna that everybody, that we have this a project with a public institution last year when we work with specifically the mentors in the high school in Campeche, okay? Here, the Mexican Republic, I told you that the southeast, we are in the peninsula of the Yucatan, okay? The southeast of Mexico. And here in the peninsula, we have Yucatan, another state, which is Campeche, and the next state is Quintana Roo. CSE, the organization that I represent, has worked with Campeche and Quintana Roo. This specific project was with Campeche, and it's called a diploma in comprehensive in CSE for high school teachers, especially for mentors in high school. Okay, the research, the project was guided by Jorge Ramirez de Arellano, which is a researcher here for CSE and for the University of the State of Yucatan, Rosana Chach, who is the headmaster of CSE, and I am the academic director, okay? We were working with our teacher, facilitator, etc. Next. As I told you, this was a project with a public institution called Women's Institute of the State of Campeche, Instituto de la Mujer del Estado de Campeche, or IMEC for Spanish. And we won this project. For the public institutions, we have to go for a contest, and we have to win that, okay? So we present our project, we present what we want to do, and we won, and it began that collaboration. We've been collaborating with the Women's Institute of Campeche like for almost 10 years, okay? So this was in a pandemic year, so we have to go online. Next. Okay, what was the goal of this project? Well, we wanted to promote the training of capacity of high school teachers, especially the mentors, in the state of Campeche through the specialized training in CSE in order to address the problems of unplanned pregnancy in adolescents and prevention of violence. Campeche, Yucatan, and Quintana Roo has this, Quintana Roo, the other state in the peninsula, has a very high rate of unplanned pregnancy in adolescents from 14 to 19 years old. So they wanted to go to not only the cities with the highest rate, but with the whole state. They wanted to, well, they said, oh, this is online, so we can go to more places. So decided to go online. Campeche it's a poor state here in Mexico. So to go to those places was challenging because many the areas didn't have the connection or it wasn't that good. So I'll tell you about the challenges later, but this is what I wanted to do. Okay, and it's not, we don't go only, oh, we're going to work here and here and here. No, there's a strategy. So we went to the National Strategy for Care and Prevention of Adolescent Pregnancy, and APEA, which is national, and in Spanish, Estrategia Nacional de Atención y Prevención de Embarazo Adolescente. So we picked from that strategy, national strategy, which cities we have to go. But trying to make it bigger, we went to the whole state, to the whole, to all schools in Campeche. Okay, it was very ambitious, but I guess we made it. Next. Well, our theoretical framework, where are we going to start? What are we going to do? Okay, yes, we have the CSE, and we know all, as a sexologist, we know everything that, okay, we have to work with skills, we have to work with knowledge, we have to work with these abilities, etc. But we wanted to give it through a competency-based model, okay, and experiential learning. We in CSX, we have master degrees. So when the pandemic came, we had to migrate to online sessions because all our masters are face-to-face here in our school, because for us, it's very important, the experiential learning. So how to do it online. Okay, so we have to migrate, we have to figure out how we're going to work with them, how are we going to work the attitudes, how are we going to work, because knowledge, okay, this is it, the PowerPoint, etc. But we're going to be with them 10 hours. So it has to be like easy to understand, but at the same time to be working not only knowledge, but also abilities, also attitudes. So experiential learning was something that we wanted to make very clear. So we had to be trained on skills in online learning, okay, in e-learning. Next. Okay, the implementation, it was online. We worked in Zoom. Many teachers have been working with Zoom. The strategy for the Secretary of Public Education didn't use Zoom. So for some teacher, it was challenging to have Zoom to get access to internet, really fast internet. So yes, at the beginning, they didn't think of it. We didn't think of it, but it was online. It was from August to November. Here in Yucatan, in Mexico, November, December are the end of the semester. So at the end of this program, we have some difficulties because some teachers couldn't be online on time because they had to examine their teenagers. They have to be in some meetings. We have to attend the parents. So they have some facilities, but they can leave their other activities. Okay, I mean, this diploma, sorry, everything. No, they have to be in the diploma. They have to be with the students. They have to be attending their parents. So it's very difficult to them. Okay, we work with two teams, two groups. It was the morning and the evening, because we have teachers that worked in the evening, so they have to be in the morning, and those who worked in the morning, they can be online in the evening. So it was two groups from 15 to 30 people each. Okay, it was 12 classes of 10 hours each. And the team, when we picked our team, we want them to be experts in sexuality, gender, violence, education, human rights. So it wasn't that very easy, but as I told you, here in CSE, we've been here for 15 years. So we knew how to pick each one for each session. Okay, next. And okay, the sessions, modules were focusing on social biopsychology cultural projects. And we talked about basic concepts of sexuality, gender violence in educational context, gender and education and the educational context, adolescent sexuality, sexual and reproductive health, civil rights and freedoms of the child and adolescent, sexual diversity, comprehensive CSE and adolescence, life skill and responsible decision-making, the mentor's well-being, comprehensive sexuality is peace education, and self-care. For us, it was very important, yes, to give them this information about CSE, okay, gender, violence, pregnancy, sexual diversity, etc. But it was also very important to work in what's going on within you, okay? This mentor's well-being, how do you self-care, how do you work with this that is happening with you when you confront your beliefs, your story with what we are bringing to you, okay? And peace education, how this, not only to be with, yes, this is violence, yes, this is the bad thing and stuff, as what can we do, okay? To be studying this is to be making peace education, okay? So we wanted to give them that. So it was very, we tried to make it the more comprehensive, the holistic that we could. Next. How did we evaluate? Because it was in a framework, as you remember, in this competency-based model. So we had this portfolio of evidences. Okay, we had this scale, Likert satisfaction scales, and a qualitative report at the end of each session. Okay, we wanted to know how this teacher give you the information, how comfortable you were with it, but also what happened within you. Tell us how this impacts in you, okay? With your story, with the way that you teach, with your family, with some story that student told you before, etc. We wanted to know not only the numbers, but also this qualitative information that it's not more important, but for us, it gives us more of the context of this. And we made at the beginning and at the end of the diploma, a pre-test and a post-test. Okay, so we wanted to know also, because this is a public project, they wanted numbers. Okay, so we wanted to know the percent of, yeah, I learned this worked for me, etc. Next. Well, the conclusions, just to be, I don't know the time, if I'm okay, Eno, you tell me. The teachers say the awareness experiential learning helped them to question the way they were teaching a care or approach on gender issues, role stereotypes, diversity, gender violence, and how we confront prejudices about sexuality with adolescents. Next. They question also, well, they become aware of their role in the public institution, because they were saying, okay, yes, we've learned this, we know our posture here, our approach. How can I do it? Because I know that I'm in a public institution, and I know that the parents and other teachers, they felt so to look for strategies to make this network for other teachers from other cities in the same state. It was really helpful for them, because they say, okay, it's not only me, there are all other people that believe in this, so we can make some strategies. We created a WhatsApp group, and they are still there. They share information through those WhatsApp groups. So they become aware of that role in the public institution and envision their work as mentor as a key piece to defend and assert equality, justice, as well as being actors in the protection of the youth rights, okay? And well, they said it was a learning process that provides them the basic knowledge and tools to properly guide high school adolescents in CSE matters. They knew we are no sexologists, but we are teachers that have more information, basic information to guide them. And we know that if something happened, and that's happened, right? That's happened, that we know that if a student come with us and they want more information that we can give, we know that we can go to CSEX and they're going to help us to, I don't know, with pregnancy, with violence, with peace education, etc. Okay, so we open this channel of communication with them as well. Next. And well, that was our project with IMEC and CSEX. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Frederick, for that wonderful presentation. And I think you have touched a lot about this study, but that's notwithstanding, I have a couple of questions to ask and to find out, because it's quite an interesting study, and I'll be eager to know what were the setbacks you faced in this project. Probably, I'm sure you would have faced some setbacks. What do you think were the setbacks you had faced in this project? You're on mute?
Okay, sorry, come again. I didn't.
Yes, so my question is, what were the setbacks you faced in this project?
Setbacks, okay. Well, like I told you, the online, okay? When we were in the beginning conversation, the beginning conversation, they said, well, it's only 5 cities, but it is online, okay? So we can go to the whole state. And we said, yes, that's wonderful. We want to go to many places for CSE. But some other places close to Guatemala, to Central America, they don't have a really good internet. So for those teachers who wanted to be in this diploma, it was really hard. They couldn't turn on the camera. Their sound wasn't that good. They were just going in and out of the session just because the internet. They didn't have a really good connection. So the connection was not that good. The other thing, like I told you, they are teachers. They are teachers in function. They Here in Mexico, you're a teacher, but you have more titles. You're a teacher, you're a mentor, you are a researcher, and you have to do all those things. Okay. At the same time, you have few hours. So also you have to be doing that, and also you have to be in the diploma in this in so for them it was also too much. Okay, so we had to make these arrangements because we see them, their faces, they are all tired at the end of the session. So we had to do some exercises to be with them, some meditation, some guided meditation. So they feel it's okay because you're doing a lot. So those were some challenges that we found out, um, that we started to plan this from June, July, but it started in August, the administration process, but the diploma started in September. So we have a lot of, we've been working with them 3 days a week,
Okay.
every week until December. Okay. So for them, it was really that tired. There was like, and they have to make this portfolio, and they have to check the homework of their kids. So, and they were parents, mothers. So it was a lot of them. We saw that. We tried to talk. We talked with the institute, but it is what it is. You have to do it. Okay. So we made those adaptations to the sessions so they can feel more comfortable, and to be, everything was online. So to be in front of the camera, not just for us, but for their students, for the research that they are doing, etc. It was tired for them. We could see that we did it. So was the step backs that we
All
found.
right. Thank you very much, Frederick, for this wonderful study and for the lessons learned. Dear participants, without wasting much time, we will go to our next panelist. That is Miss Yayu, who will be talking to us about comprehensive sexuality education in the education sector. So, Mrs. Yayu, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Eno. Let me share our experience on our study in Indonesia about comprehensive sexual education in education sector, especially in Ministry of Education. We realized that comprehensive sexual education is depend on the support from education sector. Yeah, in Indonesia we have Ministry of Education and Ministry of Religion that responsible for comprehensive sexual education for school age children and adolescent. So this is a snapshot from Indonesia as a background. I want share with you all that. Based on a literature review conducted by UNFPA, that it was found adolescent reproductive health education in Indonesia has generally been accepted with pilot programs in several regions. Like I said to you that in Indonesia we have various ways to deliver comprehensive sexual education, both in curriculum or extra curriculum. But you know that no approach used to implement adolescent reproductive health education on the national scale. So that's why the Ministry of Health, with the support of UNFPA, and IU, my partner here, support UNFPA and Ministry of Health to conduct mapping of policies, guidelines, and program related to comprehensive sexual education. So that's a background for the study. Next. Next. Yes, this is comprehensive sexual education policy and curriculum mapping in Ministry of Education. I want share with you that the objective are to identify existing policy guideline and program related to CSA in Ministry of Education, and then to identify gap of the existing policy guideline and program, and also of course to give recommendation of comprehensive sexual education framework in Ministry of Education. We conducted last year with Ministry of Health and UNFPA and also Ministry of Education, and we conduct some methods like a document review that already exists in ministries, and then we do in-depth interview with Ministry of Education focal point in several directorates. But we want to mention the limitation of this study, that this study is initial mapping to review existing policy, guideline, and program without program evaluation and observation. So this is an important point that we have to mention in this study. And we have several informants from the various directorate in Ministry of Education in Indonesia. There are directorate of elementary school, junior high school, senior high school, and then kindergarten, and also book and curriculum. And also we have Center of Character Building, and also teacher directorate who are responsible to give like a teacher training for training for teacher, including comprehensive sexual education. Next. Next. So I want to share with you that from in-depth interview with focal point from Ministry of Education, we know that they has positive understanding on comprehensive sexual education, and then they open to collaborate to strengthen CSE program. So I just quotes some statement from the focal point, like we can see here when we talk with Directorate of Junior High School, they said that CSE education is a broad issues, not only about sexuality but also related to life skill. And then Ministry of Education, especially Directorate of Junior High School, she realized that CSE need to integrate with school health program. So in Indonesia, we have school health program framework that mention comprehensive sexual education is one of the priority for health education and health services, and it must empower teacher and student to do this. And then we also talk with the focal point from the Center of Character Building in Ministry of Education. They said that reproductive health is closely related to strengthen character education. This is the priority issues in Ministry of Education in Indonesia, especially to prevent three major issues: intolerance, sexual violence, and bullying. Next. So we in our study we see some important aspect to see what is the existing policy guideline and program and what is the gap and also the conclusion. So in the management aspect, we see that Ministry of Education in Indonesia has already have some regulation that support to comprehensive sexual education implementation, which is good because we have an umbrella to implement the comprehensive sexual education. Like we have regulation on curriculum. In our curriculum, there are some topics that already regulate comprehensive sexual education in every level. But you know, when we talk about comprehensive sexual education, we realize that in our curriculum, not all the topic already include in curriculum. There are still gap. This is one of our finding. And then like in Ministry of Education in Indonesia, there are a lot of guidance related to comprehensive sexual education. One of the guidance is about HIV mainstreaming on education sector, and also some guidance about school health program, including CSE on that guidance. We see in the management aspect there are some gap, like lack of CSE data, which is used as the evidence for the CSE program, and the program just focus on the guidance, development, and technical assistance, and there are lack of the monitoring and evaluation, and also sustainability of the program. And then focus on some issues, like we know like Fred said that on the module of comprehensive sexual education, it's very huge and various topics, but when we see in the management aspect, we see that gap about the topic is not comprehensive yet. So as the conclusion for the management aspect, we propose that Ministry of Education in Indonesia need to provide CSE data as basic program implementation, and then need to ensure supervision, monitoring, and evaluation aspect. Need to have a regular coordination to ensure harmonization of policy, guidelines, and program. And of course, government financial support is limited to certain issues. So we have to advocate this for the sustainability of the CSE. Next. Yeah. And then for the curriculum aspect, we see in Indonesia, in education sector in Indonesia, for the existing policy and guideline, Ministry of Education regulation in Indonesia has several standards of the curriculum, and some topic of comprehensive sexual education already there. And then we also has a regulation that comprehensive sexual education is one of the priority that must be delivered in school in every level. But like we see here, the gap is not all CSE topics and the existing curriculum are included, especially related to value, norm, relationship, support, and services. But about the violence, and then anatomy, the function already integrated with the curriculum. So the conclusion from the curriculum aspect, that existing curriculum cannot be because the existing curriculum cannot be added by CSE topics. So that's necessary to implement CSE curriculum diversification. So this is like the strengthening strengthening the lesson with the curriculum diversification. Next. So this is the third aspect about teacher capacity. You know, in Ministry of Education, there is a directorate that's responsible for training the teacher. And I think we agree that to ensure comprehensive sexual education, we need to encourage our government to teach or to make capacity building for the for teacher. In Indonesia, existing policy guideline and program related to teacher capacity aspect that Ministry of Education has a guidance for teacher training, and also has a national instructors for comprehensive sexual education since 2018 in collaboration with Ministry of Health. But there is a gap, like a lack of sustainability of teacher training, and then the program still focus for the elementary school, not for the senior high school, like that. So the conclusion is need to in education sector in Indonesia need to ensure sustainability of teacher training, and also need to ensure teacher training program in junior and senior high school level. Next. So this is the last slide about the recommendation. We see three aspects that already that we have mapping in education sector to support comprehensive sexual education. First, for the management aspect, we give a recommendation for government in Indonesia to strengthen CSA implementation on the school head program platform. So like I said that in Indonesia, we have some platform that can be integrated CSE there, school head program platform, and then sekolah penggerak platform. Sekolah penggerak is like a movement school that we teach a headmaster to be a pilot program or school model for other schools, and then to integrate CSE key message in the character education platform. And then we have a school health program website. We have to reactivate this website, and then to develop a standard of procedure on monitoring and evaluation. And then to evaluate program result related to CSA, and also involve a center of assessment and learning in education sector. And in the curriculum aspect, we give recommendation to use data on CSE curriculum development, and then to have CSE pilot school in implementing CSE diversification curriculum. In Indonesia, we have a lot of pilot school for CSE, but yes, we need to scale up in the national wide, and then to implement existing CSE curriculum with interactive and fun methods. And the last recommendation for the curriculum aspect is to strengthen CSE integration in guidance and counseling, both individual and classical. For the teacher capacity, we encourage Ministry of Education to ensure sustainability after teacher training. Not only Ministry of Education already teach 300 or 500 teacher training, but after that, what will we do? What will do after the teacher training? So that's the recommendation from our study that already conducted last year by UNFPA and Ministry of Health, And we in Indonesia, we have some progress, a lot of progress, because we have like letter of agreement between Ministry of Education and Ministry of Health to give teacher training that funded by government, and then already has a lot of guidance and pilot program for comprehensive sexual education, including for disability. And this is the way of UNFPA is a part of the government partner, yeah, to strengthen policy and enabling environment in Indonesia to implement comprehensive sexual education. So that's for me, Dr. Eno, the snapshot from Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yayu, for this extensive presentation, and it was quite comprehensive to see that a lot has been done. Because of time, I would ask one question. I have a lot of questions to ask, but I'll ask one question. How important is the role of education sector in Indonesia to support CSE implementation? So what role does the education sector in Indonesia play in supporting CSE implementation? Just 1 minute and I'll be grateful.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Eno. So the education sector, especially the Ministry of Education and Culture and the Ministry of Religion, plays an important role in the implementation of CSE in Indonesia, because CSE is one of the activities in the Healthy School program that the Ministry of Education and Culture responsible in coordinating, training, formulating policies and guidelines, as well as monitoring and evaluation. And then and also Ministry of Education Ministry of Education has responsible to conduct healthy school with comprehensive sexual education as one of the priority program. Thank you, Dr. Eno.
Thank you very much for providing an answer and to showing us that the education sector in Indonesia plays a critical role in advancing CSE. Dear participants, dear colleagues, we'll have our last presenters for the day that comes to us all the way from India, and they will be talking about the integration of CSE in school education system by implementing the life skill education program in 9,000 government high and higher secondary schools of Madhya Pradesh in India. And this will be done by our two wonderful panelists who are joining us from India, Mr. Sonil and Miss Anjali. So over to you for your presentation.
Thank you, Eno. Thank you for that good introduction. Greetings from India. Yes. So our topic for the day is integration of comprehensive sexuality education in the school education system. So this is an intervention which we have implemented in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Next slide, please. So Madhya Pradesh is in the central part of India and has about more than 80 million population. And even though in the last few decades, there have been quite a credible improvement in the various health and the social indicators, some of the challenges are remaining, like the child marriages, even though it has reduced drastically. Then in terms of, the SRH issues also. But in order to look at a large number of adolescents or large percentage of adolescents in the Madhya Pradesh state, UNFPA in partnership with the Department of Education and with our implementing partner Bharatiya Gramin Mahila Sangh, from which we have Ms. Anjali Agarwal, we rolled out a life skills education program which is titled Umang. Umang is in Hindi, and it means that we can say excitement or renewed energy. So this program was rolled out in the year 2017, started in the 2017 as a pilot initiative, and then later scaled up the last 3-4 years from 9th standard to 12th standard in secondary and higher secondary classes of the public schools in Madhya Pradesh. So as part of the life skills education program, we have integrated all the comprehensive sexuality education components in the curriculum. Even though we did it in a very graded manner, we had to look at the culturally sensitive environment. We had to advocate with the government to include all the topics, and we did it in a graded manner. The objective of the program was to sort of build capacities among adolescent students, especially boys and girls, to enable them to achieve their aspirations, and also to make informed choices for better health, sexual and reproductive health, and well-being. So we use life skills as a vehicle, and we integrated all the topics of CSE into this program. So the CSE program, or the Umang program, is rolled out in 52 districts and roughly about 9,000 odd schools. And we have trained about 12,600 teachers, and we had a pool of master trainers. And every year we are reaching out to about 1.8 million students. It's quite huge. And the partners are involved are, as I've said, UNFPA is there, the Department of Education, and Bharatiya Gramin Mahila Sangh. So I'd now request Ms. Anjali to take us through the methodology and the transaction and the challenges and the lessons learned.
Yeah, thank
Over
you.
to you, Anjali.
Thank you. Thank you. So I would just like to briefly present, the how we went about transacting Umang program. And I'm very happy to share that Umang has been very well received by the students and teachers. It's become a brand now in Madhya Pradesh. And initially we did like a workshop with the students, with the teachers, principals, and all the stakeholders. And there were plenty of topics that we had come up with. So it's a graded curriculum, as has been said earlier. So from 9 to 12 standards. So we have 4 manuals that we are using, all are like by the name of Umang. And the broader topics that we include in these, all the 4 manuals, and there are plenty of, within their modules in that for each of them. Broadly, self-awareness, communication, interpersonal relationships, goal setting and planning, adolescence and growing up, nutrition and health, sexual and reproductive health, HIV/AIDS, mental health, gender, even third gender diversity, we are including violence and how to deal with it, then substance misuse, citizenship, rights and responsibilities. So anything and everything that touches the lives of adolescents, and particularly on the sexual and reproductive health, because it's a very, very prime area of concern that we have included. In fact, we did a mapping with the IPPA framework also on CSE, and we have tried to incorporate all the CSE components into the life skills education curriculum that we are using called Umang. So the transaction methodology that we have is that weekly sessions are conducted by the teachers who we have trained. So these are like 1-hour sessions, and we are using participatory methodologies and the various training techniques, and it is totally based on experiential learning. And so it is totally activity based, and students learn through fun activities and through games, through group discussion, through role play. So very many activities are there. Then alongside, because these are the facilitators manual which are used by the teachers, so along with that, we have student handout booklets also, which are aligned to each of these manuals. So these serve as the self-learning materials for the students. So, so this is how we are transacting the program, and the methodology is very, very interactive. Next, please. So now I come to the implementation strategy, because when the program was rolled out, initially it was piloted in the girls' hostels, and then it was upscaled to cover all the schools, all the government-run schools in Madhya Pradesh. So we developed a graded curriculum. We identified a lot of issues along with the students. What are the things that they would like to be addressed in the curriculum. So then they came up with plenty of issues. They were like more than 50, 60, and we could not cover in like 1 year. So we developed a graded curriculum from 9 to 12 standard, and that covers all the issues that had come up. And then we did an orientation of the district level officials who are responsible for overseeing the implementation of the program in their own districts. And also the school principals. We found that it is very, very important to involve school principals if they have to add it to the timetable, and they should know what is life skills education and the importance of it in the lives of the adolescents. Then also we did an identification of the teachers who could act as like nodal teachers for life skills education. So we developed a psychometric tool, and that tool was implemented, and it tested out the kind of personality, attitude, aptitude of the teachers who would be more apt to take up life skills education with the students. So then they were identified, and they were provided training, and we had to use a cascade model because, as you know, that we are trying to cover 9,228 schools, which is a very large number of schools. All the 100% schools are being covered, government schools are being covered in Madhya Pradesh. And also we have trained the master trainers, and master trainers have trained the teachers of the schools. So one of the very big breakthrough in this was that it was included in the life skills education academic calendar. It got included. And so that means the program has been totally institutionalized, because then it found a place in the academic calendar issued by the school education department. So it is now being implemented in all the 100% schools, and we developed a Umang mobile application, and the sessions are reported by the teachers using that mobile app. It takes only 2-3 minutes for them to report after the session is conducted. The sessions get conducted every Saturday. It's a 1-hour session. After that, the teachers report it on the mobile app, and we get all the data from all the throughout the state. Like we will be having thousands of sessions taking place in the whole state, and we get the data, and we put how many which district is doing how many sessions. So we are able to put out that table, and it leads to a healthy competition among the districts, and that helps the boost the program as well. So, and the monitoring and mentoring of the sessions is also done by not only the school officials, even our trained master trainers also do the mentoring of the other teachers. Then in response, because it's a very dynamic kind of process, it has been evolving with time. And it has taken, many new dimensions are being added to it. So many students, they started sharing their problems with the teachers. And that is how the Umang helpline, it's an Umang adolescent helpline that has been initiated to provide mental and psychosocial support to adolescents. That's a very, again, it was in response to the need of the students which came up, that we had to start this helpline. As my other panelist was also saying, that in response to the COVID, because the schools remained closed for quite a lot of time, and we thought that students are going to forget life skills education, and CSE will be, issues. All these issues will be sort of forgotten, and there were so many mental health issues being faced by them. They needed to ask so many questions. So we thought that let us start online program. So with links were being sent to them every week through the education department. We made more than 150 videos, and every week we were sending it out, and we were also taking feedback from the students through a Google form. Then we realized that not everybody has access to internet or a smartphone. So then the state-run TV program was started again. It was a 1-hour program, and it was the Umang was being telecast on the over the TV, so that it can reach out to the students who are at home. Next, please. So these are the challenges and the lessons that we have learned over the period of time since 2017, when the program has been going on. that advocacy is very, very important. If we want to institutionalize the program, we have to continue doing advocacy, not only with the government, we have to also do advocacy with the other departments and also with the stakeholders. So that has been going on, and through the health, sexual reproductive health issues are being addressed. The government used the terminology life skills education and not CSE. And the ownership of the program is with the government, and we are, I mean, it has been scaled up to cover all the 100% schools, which is a very, very big breakthrough. I would say that it has been totally institutionalized into the school education system from 9 to 12th standard. And in fact, I can even say that it has become a flagship program of the government, because the results are so good and there are so many success stories are coming up, that the government too feels also very happy that they are able to address the issues of the adolescents in the schools. The capacity building also was a challenge, because there were a huge number of teachers to be trained. So we trained the master trainers, and there was a sea change, you know, when they came for the residential 5-day residential training, the first day and the 5th day, we could see a sea change in the mindset of the teachers, you know, who came. But it was a challenge, because some of the schools were like single teacher schools, so they could not spare, you know, the teachers to come for training and do life skills education also. Then based on the feedback during the implementation, you know, how to improve the quality of the transaction of the curriculum. So a lot of mentoring was needed, and that was done by the senior trainers and resource persons. And we had a monitoring and mentoring mechanism in place to meet that challenge. Then during the master trainer training, the focus was more on addressing the mindset to train them as facilitator. And the major challenge was to change their mindset, because some of the topics, as we all know, that they are not very comfortable with, and they have their own judgments. So breaking that, those barriers was a very big challenge, but we are happy to say that we have been able to do that to a great extent. I wouldn't say 100%, but yes, we have been able to do that. At the lower level, in the initial period, some of the master trainers used to skip some sessions because they were not very comfortable talking about these issues. But later, when we did the mentoring, then these issues got addressed, and then they also started, you know, sort of sharing with the students, speaking out openly with these issues. And that was what we felt when we went to the field. Then we also made interlinkages with other programs and services, because through the life skills education, we are, you know, making them aware, we are building skills in them. So then it raises their demand for services. So we have to meet that demand also. So that is what we felt that, you know, what the demand was generated. So we were able to meet it by providing psychosocial services for students. And we started the helpline, and the adolescent friendly health services was also one of the, you know, need that was raised by the students and teachers, and we have been able to link them with the department for that. In 13 districts, the linkage has been made with the, and they are being provided adolescent friendly health services, and the helpline was started in 2020. Next, please. So in terms of achievements, I think in a very short span of time, and in between COVID also came and the schools remain closed, but the program has been able to reach out to more than 1.8 million adolescents, I mean, every year. And online methods also we adopted, you know, so many talk shows and expert videos. And I mean, we also created an e-question box in which they could put the questions and we used to answer them. So it was a very, very intense and dynamic process, I would say. And the students and teachers have started opening up with each other. We saw a shift, you know, that the relationship between the student and teachers, which used to be earlier of, you know, of fear, or, you know, they would hesitate to talk to the teachers. When these teachers started taking the sessions on life skills education, then the students really opened up with the teachers. And even with each other, like their relationships improved, that they were more open about issues and they would talk about issues. And the teachers also became better equipped and they became more sensitive towards the issues of the adolescents and the topic related to CSE also. So online classes were started, as I shared earlier, and it had a very wide reach, and we had more than 3 million views. I can say we had about 700,000 feedback forms that we received. So we have a lot of data with us now, and we have received feedback from the students, which is very, very good. That was like 98% of the students, I should say, that they really liked the program and they found it very, very relevant, 98 to 99%. And even the teachers were like, they were very, very, I mean, positive about the whole program. So our next step is now that, and it is also a demand from the department, that we felt that we now need to move towards, engaging boys and addressing issues of positive masculinity. So we need to build that into our whole curriculum as well. So we have designed some posters, IC materials, and also manual, which is now being introduced in this year. And there's a whole campaign that is now going to take place along with the Umang curriculum. So this has been also done and integrated. I think it's a very, very important need. I think we'll all agree to that. So so we have received so many calls in the psychosocial helpline by the students and teachers, especially in the COVID period. So we had more like 100,000 calls have been received, and we were able to help them, guide them in so many issues related to violence, related to career, emotional issues were taking place, relationship issues were taking place. So a lot of calls were received and we were able to sort of help them out in that. Then now we are at a stage that we have been able to integrate the program thoroughly. So now we feel that we need to develop a scale so that we can measure, what kind of life skills have been acquired by the students, and they are able to self-assess. The teachers are able to self-assess and see, what needs to be strengthened. So that is the stage that we are at. We are also developing the tools for impact assessment. And the government of Madhya Pradesh, the school education department, has a full ownership of the program, and that is the best part of it. And they keep on urging us to, move forward and spread it. So this time we are also going to target the private schools in Madhya Pradesh. So that is what I wanted to share. Next, please. So these are some of the classroom sessions, and some of these activities are done within the classroom and some are done even outside in the ground in the school campus. So it's a very, very dynamic process and it keeps growing. And we have been able to institutionalize the program because there was a lot of political will, there was a well thought of implementation strategy. And I think CSE is being quite well addressed through the life skills education because it is more culturally acceptable. So thank you so much for your patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. And straight away, because of time, I know we are running behind time, but participants, please allow me to just find out from the presenters on a particular question. In the classroom, what are the methodologies that was used for delivering CSE life skill education to the students? What kind of feedback was received from the teachers and the students? Just for 1 minute, if you can just tell us what methodologies were being used to deliver the CSE and the feedback that the students and the teachers received.
Sunilji wants to say something?
No, I'll just introduce that. The methodology was based on participatory techniques and also experiential learning. So there were role plays, there were activities which has been conducted. And as you have seen in the photos, many outdoor activities were also conducted. Case studies were given, brainstorming was done. So, and also feedback was taken from, the students.
Okay.
Anjali ji, you'd like to add something, maybe a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, totally, it is totally participatory in nature. Every Saturday, 1 hour session takes place by the teachers, and the students look forward to, that they really look forward to these sessions because they become active participants in their own, the change that takes place, not only in terms of their knowledge, attitude, but even practices.
Okay.
So, and the feedback that you have talked about, the feedback that we received, as I said earlier, that about 98 to 99% students have said that the issues are very, very relevant for them. And there is nobody that, who outside of school is telling them, outside of this program is telling them about these issues. So the teachers also find the program to be very good. And they say that their relationship with the students has improved, and they are able to now face the challenges of life, and we are able to build life skills among them to address also the CSE issues. So I think the program
All
is very
right.
well received. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Real quick, I want to get your last words, your last recommendations. Real quick, just 30 seconds each. Just tell me your last words, your last recommendation for CSC, CSC implementation, CSC delivery in your country based on your context. Real quick, 30 seconds. Yes, I begin with Frederick. Last words. Any last words?
Yes, to continue to work with the public institutions because they have this context, this field to work with. So
Okay.
we are going to be working with politics, with public institutions,
Thank
with
you.
schools, because we can reach from there.
Thank you very much, Frederick. I go to Yayu. Real quick, tell me what are your last words, last recommendations?
Yeah, thank you. I think for Indonesia context, we need to strengthen the management of comprehensive sexual education, including coordination, capacity building, and then monitoring evaluation, financial support, and also for the planning of comprehensive sexual education that encourage the sustainability of the CSE
Okay.
program.
All right. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. And to Sunil, real quick, 30 seconds, please.
Yeah,
Last
three
words.
quick points. One is that work with government to reach out to larger number of students. Second is while you are transacting the program, the selection of teacher is very critical. Third is in terms of involve the young students and the young adolescents in the conceptualization of the program.
Thank you very much. One last word from
Thank you.
Anjali. One last
I,
word, please.
I would say that listen to the voices of the young people and adolescents.
All right. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, colleagues. It was nice having you on this panel, and see you some other time. Thank you very much, and bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the